On the night of July 18, 64 AD, Rome was restless but unsuspecting. Near the Circus Maximus a small flame sparked, its cause lost to history. Within moments fire leapt from shop to shop, fueled by oils, textiles, and wood. A strong summer wind turned the spark into a raging inferno. Panic swept the city as people awoke to smoke and an orange sky. Families fled into the maze of narrow streets, desperate to escape. The fire moved faster than anyone could run, devouring everything in its path. The roar of flames drowned out cries for help. Buildings collapsed, trapping many inside. Rich and poor alike watched their homes and temples vanish in the blaze. The fire showed no mercy, consuming centuries of history in hours. By dawn, Rome was unrecognizable, shrouded in black smoke and despair. The city's heart was burning, and its people were powerless to stop it. The Great Fire had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. Rome's world was reduced to chaos and ash. The city's fate now hung in the balance. As the sun rose, survivors faced a new, devastated reality. The nightmare was only beginning. The flames would haunt Rome forever. Why did the fire spread so quickly? The answer lies in Rome itself. Over 1 million people crowded into a city of contrasts, marble temples beside rickety wooden apartments called insulae. Most Romans lived in cramped, flammable buildings, stacked high and close together. Open flames for cooking and lighting were everywhere, making fire a constant threat. The city's narrow, winding streets acted as funnels for disaster. There was no organized fire brigade, just chaos when flames broke out. Shops and warehouses brimmed with oil, cloth, and grain, adding fuel to any spark. Even grand public buildings had wooden roofs, vulnerable to fire. Rome was built to impress, not to protect. Small fires were common, but nothing prepared the city for this catastrophe. The hot, dry summer and strong winds created perfect conditions for disaster. The city was a tinderbox, and on that fateful night, it finally ignited. The Great Fire was not just an accident, it was the result of how Rome had grown. The city's own design sealed its fate. The fire erupted in the merchant district by the Circus Maximus, an ideal place for disaster. Fueled by flammable goods and driven by wind, the flames tore through Rome's heart. For 6 days and 7 nights, the inferno raged, leaping from district to district. 10 of Rome's 14 districts burned. 3 were completely destroyed. Ancient temples, public baths, and priceless art vanished in the flames. Hundreds of thousands lost their homes. The death toll remains unknown. Many perished trapped in their homes or in stampedes through choking smoke. Survivors wandered the ruins searching for loved ones and shelter. The city was transformed into a wasteland of ash and silence. The fire was finally halted by demolishing buildings to create fire breaks. When the smoke cleared, Rome's devastation was total. The city's monuments were blackened ruins, its people traumatized. The immediate challenge, survival. The long-term challenge, rebuilding. Rome had to rise from its own ashes. The Great Fire was a disaster on a scale the city had never seen. The world's greatest city was brought to its knees. The survivors faced hunger, homelessness, and despair. Rome's future was uncertain. The city's spirit would be tested as never before. Where was Emperor Nero as Rome burned? According to Tacitus, he was away at his villa in Antium. When news reached him, Nero rushed back and took charge of relief efforts. He opened his gardens and public buildings to the homeless, arranged food supplies, and organized emergency housing. Nero was seen among the people, directing aid and firefighting, yet rumors spread. Nero had watched the city burn, playing music and celebrating the destruction. The infamous tale of Nero, fiddling while Rome burned, took hold, though the fiddle didn't exist. Most historians dismiss the story as political slander, but it stuck. Nero's actions were overshadowed by suspicion and gossip. The emperor became a symbol of cruelty and excess. The fire would forever define his legacy. As Rome smoldered, anger and suspicion grew. Relief efforts couldn't calm the city's grief, or the rumors about Nero's role in the fire. Needing a scapegoat, Nero targeted a small, misunderstood group, the Christians. Christians were seen as outsiders, refusing to worship Roman gods or the emperor. Rumors painted them as dangerous and secretive. Nero accused them of arson, ordering mass arrests and brutal executions. Christians were torn apart by dogs, crucified, or burned alive as human torches. These public spectacles were meant to satisfy the city's thirst for revenge. This was the first major state-sponsored persecution of Christians in Rome. The Christian community faced terror and martyrdom for a crime they didn't commit. Nero shifted blame, but at a terrible human cost. The persecution would echo through history, shaping the identity of early Christianity. The fire's aftermath became a defining moment for both Rome and the new faith. The city's tragedy was now entwined with the story of Christian martyrdom. With the flames extinguished, Rome faced the monumental task of rebuilding. Nero saw an opportunity, not just to restore, but to reinvent the city. New urban plans called for wider, straighter streets and fire-resistant materials like brick and stone. Building heights were limited, and shared walls were banned to slow future fires. The aqueduct system was expanded, and more fountains provided water for emergencies. Open squares and colonnades offered beauty and safety. Rubble filled marshes, creating new land for development. The project was massive and costly, funded by heavy taxes and state resources. While the new Rome was safer and grander, resentment grew over the expense. Nero's vision transformed the city, but at a price. The rebuilt Rome was more modern and resilient. The lessons of the fire shaped the city for generations. Out of disaster, a new Rome emerged. Amid reconstruction, Nero began his most ambitious project, the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. Built on land cleared by the fire, it was a sprawling palace of gardens, lakes, and opulent halls. The palace covered hundreds of acres with vineyards, forests, and a massive artificial lake. Its rooms glittered with gold, jewels, and frescoes. A revolving dining room was its marvel. At the entrance stood a colossal statue of Nero himself. For Nero, it was the ultimate artistic statement. For Romans, a monument to his excess. The palace's cost and extravagance fueled rumors that Nero had burned Rome for his own gain. Thousands had lost homes, now their land was the emperor's playground. The Golden House became a symbol of tyranny and selfishness. Public resentment deepened, sealing Nero's fate. What Nero saw as his legacy became his undoing. The Domus Aurea stood as a reminder of power built on ruin. The Great Fire of 64 AD left scars that shaped Rome for generations. The city was rebuilt, safer, more open, and more modern. Urban planning lessons from the fire influenced cities for centuries. Nero's reputation never recovered. Rumors in the Golden House defined him as a tyrant. The fire fueled opposition, leading to his downfall and suicide just 4 years later. The persecution of Christians set a precedent for future conflict with the empire. Their martyrdom became a cornerstone of Christian identity. The disaster showed how quickly chaos and rumor can consume a society. Nero's story became a cautionary tale about leadership and blame. The questions raised by the fire still echo. Was Nero a monster, or a victim of history's judgment? The flames of 64 AD continue to burn in our imagination.